Imagine this. One morning, you wake up to silence. No birds, no trees, no sound of life. Just endless emptiness. Oceans have turned toxic. Skies are painted red, and the air, it's poison. The world you knew is gone. Forever. This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie. This happened, not once, but multiple times. Welcome to When the World Nearly Died, 5 Catastrophes You Never Knew. Today, we'll uncover the 5 moments when Earth was on the edge of total extinction. And somehow, life fought its way back. But let's start with the deadliest of them all, the Great Dying. The Great Dying, Earth's deadliest day. 250 million years ago, Earth was nothing like today. No humans, no mammals, just strange reptilian creatures roaming massive supercontinents. The world was warm, lush, and full of life, until it wasn't. Then, in a geological heartbeat, 90% of all life vanished. Yes, 9 out of every 10 species disappeared. This wasn't just an extinction. It was obliteration. What happened? Scientists call it the Permian Triassic extinction, the biggest mass extinction in Earth's history. It was so severe that if life had feelings, this was its darkest hour. It started with fire deep beneath Siberia. A hellish chain reaction began. For millions of years, molten rock brewed in Earth's mantle. Then, all at once, it broke free. Massive volcanic eruptions, so large they make modern volcanoes look like fireworks, covered an area bigger than the United States in lava. For hundreds of thousands of years, volcanoes belched toxic gases into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide levels soared. The planet began to heat up. At first, it was slow, then unstoppable. The planet turns hostile. As temperatures rose by almost 10 degrees Celsius, oceans started losing oxygen. Imagine diving into the sea and suffocating, not because of lack of air above, but because the water itself couldn't breathe. Entire marine ecosystems collapsed. Coral reefs, trilobites, giant fish, gone. But that wasn't the worst part. The warming triggered another killer, methane. Gigantic reservoirs of frozen methane under the ocean floor melted and exploded into the air. Methane is a super greenhouse gas, far deadlier than CO2. Result? A runaway climate catastrophe. Earth turned into a furnace. Forests burned, rivers dried, and skies filled with toxic rain. The air became poison hydrogen sulfide. Yes, the same gas that smells like rotten eggs filled the air. Scientists believe the oceans turned green and purple with sulfur-loving bacteria. These bacteria pumped out toxic gas, creating a deadly mist across the planet. Breathing wasn't just hard, it was lethal. Animals gasped for life, plants shriveled, and entire species disappeared in waves. 90% gone, but not forever. By the end, 9 out of 10 species were extinct. Life came closer to total annihilation than ever before. It took 10 million years, yes, 10 million, for Earth to recover. Without this extinction, dinosaurs might never have ruled. And without dinosaurs, mammals, and humans like us might never have existed. So, in a strange way, we owe our existence to this apocalyptic nightmare. Imagine standing on a beach, but instead of waves, you see a wall of ice stretching as far as your eyes can see. The oceans are frozen solid. The skies are grey and empty. The sun still shines, but it's powerless. Earth has become a giant snowball. It sounds like science fiction, but around 700 million years ago, this was our reality. The entire planet froze. Every continent, every ocean, every drop of water turned to ice. Scientists call this nightmare Snowball Earth. How could Earth freeze like this? At first, Earth was a warm, tropical paradise. But then, something triggered the big chill. There are many theories: volcanic eruptions, a drop in greenhouse gases, changes in sunlight. But here's the leading idea. For millions of years, rain and erosion pulled carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and locked it away in rocks. Carbon dioxide is like Earth's blanket. It traps heat. Remove the blanket, and the planet starts cooling. Slowly at first, then faster, until the tipping point. Glaciers crept from the poles toward the equator. Imagine giant sheets of ice crushing forests, grinding mountains, covering everything in white. Within a few million years, Earth became a frozen tomb, a world of white death. When we say frozen, we mean frozen solid. The oceans weren't just cold. They were covered in a sheet of ice up to a kilometer thick. No rain, no rivers, no liquid water, just endless silence under an icy sky. Life was trapped beneath the ice. Tiny microorganisms struggled to survive in the darkest, coldest corners of the oceans, maybe near volcanic vents or thin cracks in the ice where sunlight could sneak in. For 50 million years, this frozen hell lasted. 50 million years. That's longer than the entire time humans have existed on Earth. The Great Escape. So how did Earth escape this icy prison? The answer came from fire. Deep underground, volcanoes never stopped erupting. Even though the surface was frozen, Earth's fiery heart kept pumping out carbon dioxide. Over millions of years, CO2 built up in the atmosphere because there were no plants or oceans to absorb it. And then, suddenly, the planet snapped. The greenhouse effect roared back with a vengeance. Temperatures soared, ice melted, oceans boiled with storms. Earth went from deep freeze to superheated chaos almost overnight, in geological terms. Some scientists believe this violent swing helped trigger the evolution of complex life. Yes, this apocalypse may have paved the way for the first animals, and eventually us. Imagine the scene: picture Earth from space during Snowball Earth, a pale, lifeless marble gliding through darkness. Now imagine the meltdown: blue cracks splitting across the ice, volcanoes belching steam, oceans roaring back to life. It's beautiful and terrifying. What if the very thing you breathe, the air that keeps you alive, was once the deadliest poison on Earth? It sounds impossible. But 2.4 billion years ago, oxygen almost wiped out life. We call it the Great Oxidation Event, or as I like to call it, the day oxygen became a killer. Life before oxygen. In the beginning, Earth was an alien world. There was no oxygen in the air, none. The skies were orange, the seas were green, and the air was filled with methane and carbon dioxide. For billions of years, life survived in this toxic soup. But life was small, tiny microbes clinging to rocks and floating in oceans. They didn't need oxygen. In fact, oxygen was poison to them. Then, something extraordinary happened. Some of these microbes evolved a superpower: photosynthesis. Instead of just feeding on chemicals, they learned to harness sunlight. And their waste product? Oxygen, the silent killer. At first, oxygen trickled into the oceans. No one noticed. But over millions of years, it built up. And that was bad news for the old life forms. For them, oxygen was toxic. It ripped apart their delicate cells. The very air turned deadly. Imagine a planet where the sky itself becomes a weapon against life. Entire species suffocated. Microbes that ruled Earth for billions of years were wiped out in what scientists call the oxygen holocaust, the first apocalypse that saved us. Here's the twist: while oxygen killed most life, it also paved the way for everything we know today. Complex life, plants, animals, humans, couldn't exist without oxygen. The Great Oxygen Catastrophe turned Earth from a stinking, suffocating planet into a blue world, bursting with energy. It was the first apocalypse and the first miracle. The aftermath, frozen planet again. But wait, it gets worse. The oxygen boom also removed methane from the atmosphere, one of Earth's strongest greenhouse gases. The result? The planet froze solid again. Yes, the Great Oxidation Event may have caused the first Snowball Earth. Life went from poisoned skies to frozen death, twice in one apocalypse. It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining over a warm, lush Earth. Giant dinosaurs roamed the land. Life seemed unstoppable. But in the sky, death was coming. About 66 million years ago, a rock from space ended the age of giants. This wasn't just an asteroid, it was a planet killer. The rock that changed everything. It was about 10 kilometers wide, bigger than Mount Everest, and it slammed into Earth at 20 kilometers per second. That's faster than a bullet. When it hit, the energy released was equal to 10 billion atomic bombs. One moment, the world was alive. The next, it was fire. The impact. The asteroid struck near what is now Chicxulub, Mexico. In less than a second, it carved a crater 180 kilometers wide and nearly 20 kilometers deep. The shockwave flattened forests thousands of kilometers away. The air turned into plasma. Rocks flew into space and rained back down as fire. The entire planet caught fire. Dinosaurs roasted alive. Oceans boiled. Everything that could burn, burned. The long darkness. But the firestorm wasn't the worst part. When the asteroid hit, it blasted trillions of tons of dust and sulfur into the sky. The sun disappeared. For months, maybe years. Earth stayed dark. Temperatures plunged. Plants died. Herbivores starved. Carnivores followed. For the dinosaurs, it was the end. For mammals, hiding in burrows, it was the beginning. We've survived fire, ice, poison, and cosmic death. But the question is, will we survive what's coming next? Here's the truth. Mass extinction isn't over. Earth has faced 5 major extinction events in its history. Many scientists believe a 6th is already beginning. And we're the cause. The 6th extinction? Right now, species are disappearing 1,000 times faster than normal. Forests are vanishing. Oceans are choking with plastic. Climate change is heating the planet at a rate not seen since the asteroid impact. But humans aren't just a threat to nature, we're a threat to ourselves. Because the next apocalypse might not be natural. It could be something we create. Possible future killers. 1. Climate collapse. If temperatures rise beyond control, we could trigger feedback loops, melting ice, releasing methane, turning Earth into a greenhouse nightmare like Venus. 2. Supervolcanoes. Right now, under Yellowstone and other hotspots, magma is waiting. A single eruption could plunge Earth into years of darkness. 3. Asteroids. The rock that killed the dinosaurs wasn't the last. Space is full of planet killers. One lucky miss, or not so lucky hit, and it's game over. 4. Artificial intelligence and technology. Some scientists warn that our greatest invention could also be our greatest risk. Will AI save us or destroy us? 5. Nuclear war. The weapons exist. If they fall into the wrong hands, the aftermath could look like an asteroid strike. Fire, darkness, famine. So, what happens next? Maybe life will fight back, like it always has. Maybe humans will find a way to survive anything. On Earth or beyond. But if history teaches us one thing, it's this. Extinction is the rule. Survival is the exception. the great dying, the frozen earth, the poisoned sky, the day the dinosaurs fell, and the next great unknown. 5 catastrophes that nearly erased life, and one that could still do it. We are here today because life is stubborn. It crawled out of fire. It hid beneath ice. It breathed poison. It survived death from space. But will we survive the next one? The answer is in our hands. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories about the fragile miracle of life and the universe, hit that subscribe button and never stop wondering.